We turn now to Ohio Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown. He is in Cleveland, but will soon be making his way to Dayton. Senator Brown, good morning. I want to ask you.
Thank you.
The authorities will tell us more about what happened overnight in Dayton, but I want to ask you, do you believe this is a moment in American history that we are at or should be at a turning point on this question of mass shootings and what to do about them?
Of course it is. I spoke to the mayor, to Mayor Whaley, the mayor of this great Ohio city of Dayton, earlier this morning, and she said she had gotten text messages and emails and calls from, she said, dozens and dozens of fellow mayors around the country, all of whom have gone through this. And, you know, we wake up to grief and sadness about these victims and these families. But it pretty quickly turns to anger that our government hasn't done anything. And Mitch McConnell should bring us back into session on Monday. The House of Representatives has passed a background check. We could fly back into Washington on Monday morning. We could pass the background check bill, and people could fly back and be home for dinner. And the president needs to sign this bill. We know what to do. We know that background checks worked. We know that that a ban on assault weapons worked. It was bipartisan. It expired, and we haven't renewed it. Those are the first two things we should do. And in that sense, it could finally put the country on the right path on gun violence.
Some of your Republican colleagues this morning, Lindsey Graham in the Senate from South Carolina, Fred Upton, Republican from Michigan in the House, have said that they now are in favor of so-called red flag laws that states use to briefly detain someone who they believe or reasonably believe that the due process applied present a threat to the community for mental health issues. Are red flag laws, in your opinion, also part of this equation?
Well, I wouldn't start with that. I mean, of course, people who have stood with the NRA in their careers they'll deflect into something else. But we know that background checks work. We know that the ban on assault weapons worked. We saw President Bush support the back. You know, think about this. I mean, look at President Obama's response to Sandy Hook in Charleston. Look at President Bush's response after 9/11, where he went to a mosque and he said, Muslims didn't attack the United States. Terrorists attacked the United States. And members of Congress need to go back to work in the Senate, go back to work tomorrow, pass the assault weapon ban that the House has passed, get it to the president's desk, make sure the president signs it. Then we figure other things out. But that's where we start tomorrow, and do it quickly and show the country, for gosh sakes, that the people representing them in Washington don't always kowtow to the gun lobby.
Senator, I know that's your point of view. That's what you're advocating for. You have a cell phone like everyone else in America. Are you getting any traffic on your cell phone from the Democratic leadership or anyone else in Washington suggesting to you what you just said is in fact likely to occur?
I am not hearing from any of my colleagues yet. I called the mayor this morning, as I told you, the mayor of Dayton. I don't know. I don't know if the gun lobby seems awfully strong. I mean, I've had a lifetime F from the NRA in a state that elects a lot of people that support the NRA and that the NRA supports. But I know you can win elections, you can stand up against the gun lobby and win elections. But that aside, when is Mitch McConnell, when is the Republican leadership in the Senate going to actually bring this to a vote? The House of Representatives passed it bipartisanly. It's a bipartisan bill in the House. When is the Senate actually going to do it? And tomorrow is a perfect day. I know that the Senate adjourned for August a couple of days ago, but bring us back, have us do our job, put this on the floor. We know it works. We know it may only be a first step, but we know it works, and there's just simply no reason that Mitch McConnell won't do that, except for the gun lobby.
Briefly, Senator, you know that some on the pro-gun rights side of this ledger would say those things you outlined wouldn't stop every one of these, wouldn't stop maybe even most of them. Your response?
Well, they're not going to stop every one of those. Nobody's ever contended they will. But again, I say that background checks works. We know that. And the assault on the ban of assault weapons. I mean, this young man that killed 9 people before the police killed him, and injured, I believe, more than 24, did that in the space, the mayor told me, did that in fewer than 30 seconds. That says two things. It says the police in Dayton are terrific, that they responded that quick and saved and it says three things. The police were terrific. That saved. Second thing, that saved hundreds of lives. And third, he had enough ammunition to kill potentially 100 or 200 people, and that's why you banned the assault weapon. And it worked when we banned it before. It didn't stop every mass shooting. It didn't stop every murder. But a lot of people are alive today because we've had background checks in some places, and a lot of people are alive today because we had an assault ban for I believe 10 years in the United States of America.
Senator Brown, Ohio Democrat, thank you.